Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vaughn Headland. I'm chair of the Administration Committee, County of Dunn. This is our monthly meeting. Present today, we have a quorum of all our members. We have a roll call. I think I'll have a roll call done by our county manager so we can let the public know who all is here. If you would please, Paul.
Supervisor Story.
Here.
Supervisor Lenow.
Here.
Supervisor Calabrese.
Here.
Supervisor Tripp.
Here.
County Board Chair Bartlett.
Here.
And Chairman Headland.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which took place on December 2nd of 2021. Those are included in your packet. Anyone care to make a motion to approve?
So moved, Jim Lenow.
Supervisor Lenow does make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second
Supervisor
by
Calabrese.
Supervisor Calabrese. Thank you, John. Okay, any comments or corrections?
But I saw.
Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to the motion? Hearing none. Minutes are approved. Next, we have a public comment. Do we have any public comment, either via email or anyone waiting to make comment?
I have not received any public comments.
Okay, thank you. Staff reports are next on our agenda. Those were included in our packet, and along with the year-end budgets from all our departments. Anyone have any questions? If not, I'll open it to the department managers for comments. Anyone have any questions on anything specific? Okay, hearing none. Paul, would you have any comments, or is anyone that you know that would like to speak to their reports?
I'm not aware of anybody having asked to make any particular comments. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
I have a question regarding the monitoring of the highway department. The finances on that, just wondering how that's going, when we may have a resolve date.
I'll defer to our outgoing CFO, Keith Stray, who's joined us to answer the status on the forensic on highways financials.
Sorry about that. My technical setup here, I've got an alternate setup now and it's kicking my butt. Sorry for that. But yeah, the process, the project is ongoing and it's on track with the expected timeline. And what I mean by that is this process needs to be wrapped up substantially by the end of February, because we have a federal and state single audit that is on hold that can't be issued for fiscal year 2021 or 2020 without this assessment being completed, whether it involved federal or state dollars. Everything is flowing well. Everything is on track. We have a weekly check-in call. Beata Haug has been involved in those and will take over the lead with working hand in hand with Human Resources Director and Sarah Stabenow, Senior Accounting Manager. So things are on track. And I guess that's about all I can report. The deadline for that single audit report was extended due to COVID to the end of March, thankfully, or we'd just be late pending this assessment. So things are on track at this point.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? Just speak up. I don't see everyone at this point, so. Any other questions for any of the reports coming from any of the departments?
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Chairman. This is John Calabrese.
Okay, thank you, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, just out of curiosity on the IT report, one of the bulleted points is worked on countywide print management. And I was just wondering what that meant.
Yeah, so this is Dan Dunbar. We actually just met with department heads on that. We've been doing an evaluation with a company to kind of bring out the total cost of printing throughout the whole county. So a lot of times printing is a very hidden cost. You don't think about the cost of an ink cartridge or a toner replacement. It just becomes an operating expense, but the overall it can be a very expensive endeavor. So we did a study with E.O. Johnson and they gave us a proposal, and that's something that we just kind of presented to the department heads yesterday. And that proposal is estimating about a $30,000 savings for the county in printing overall. So we're looking at, or we're estimating our total print costs for the county at about $90-some thousand a year. And we're hoping to bring that down to 60-some. So that includes the cost of the printers, the cost of the toner, and any maintenance that would happen through there. It is not including paper at this time. So we also, with that, we're going to go from about 25 different contracts with E.O. Johnson down to 1. So we also have some operational savings that comes out of that same process that's not included in that cost savings, but it's certainly something that will benefit the different departments. So.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Any other supervisors? Chairman Bartlett.
You talked about saving $1,500 a month on a lease for fiber, but what's the re-engineering plant, fiber plant or whatever? What's that?
So that's all kind of related. So we were paying a lease cost for fiber that was giving us redundancy. So when we talk about that, I always like to call it backhoe redundancy. That's the biggest predator to a fiber network is a big machine cutting that cable. So we actually had other fiber that we could use. We just had to change around how our network was set up in order to exclude that piece. And by excluding it, we were able to eliminate that lease payment on that strand of fiber.
So we're using all our own fiber then, is what you're saying?
Currently we own all of the fiber we use, with the exception of some fiber inside of between the buildings and the neighbors of Dunn County right now is actually a leased our leased fiber that through 24/7. So but the rest of it is all owned in some way, shape, or form through the county that doesn't have an ongoing cost associated with it.
Okay, thank you. It's great.
Anyone else? Any other Supervisor Lino?
I have one little item that I learned at the WTA meeting here on Monday. They had some information regarding ARPA funds, and they said it's gotten much easier, and they're pretty generous with how that money can be used. So I was just kind of going to ask Keith if he's had an opportunity to hear that tidbit of information or not. I don't know.
Well, and the timing of the final rules release was earlier this month. And as part of CFO transition, that will be transitioning over to Beata as your CFO to do a deep dive review on that. And we've talked about that, and we've got her established with access to the US portal treasury site, and she's beginning to review that. So yes, in general terms, they have loosened things up when they approved that $10 million, I guess, exception as far as the revenue loss calculation. they've loosened some things up, but it isn't completely loose where you can just put it into your savings bank or use it for pension deficits or anything like that. There still has to be a public use of the dollars, but it, under the revenue loss, it allows you to use it for much broader things than what the original language was, which was tied to water systems and very specific, broadband, things like that. So yes, you are correct. It's even looser in this final version. It's just now sifting through all the details to see, what we could do with it. So that is something that Beata will be looking at and working with the county board in the future.
Okay, not a problem. I just heard that things got simplified and I thought, ooh, this might be something to consider look at closely. That's all.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Supervisor Story, please go ahead.
quick question for the county manager. Just wondering if we've started a downward trend yet on the COVID response, if we're still climbing or if we're starting to go down a little bit.
As of my last conversation with our public health director, we are not yet seeing a decline of
Okay.
new numbers. We'll talk again on Monday, see if there's an update.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No, okay. Thank you all for that. And thank you all, the staff members, again, for the written reports along with the updates on all the budgets. Appreciate that. It's nice to see in print and have a chance to review all that ahead of the meeting. So again, that works very well. Consideration for actions to be taken by this committee. 6A is approval of out-of-class pay. Again, that information is in your packets. Paul, or is Heather going to take us through that?
Our HR director is out of town, so I'll just to introduce this. We have a request for out-of-classification pay for our senior accounting manager, Sarah Stabenow, in our finance division. Our employee handbook allows out-of-class pay can be approved by your county manager for up to 3 months, but anything longer than 3 months requires this committee's approval. The request is for out-of-class pay for the senior accounting manager, retroactive to November 7 and continuing through this year, July 1st. And it's in recognition of a couple of things, including additional duties taken on by the senior accounting manager during the transition from Keith Stray, our CFO, to Beata Haug, our new CFO. Also, the additional duties taken on by the senior accounting manager due to the vacancy. We have a vacant accounting manager position. That position provided a lot of the financial support for the highway department. It has been vacant since last year, and Sarah Stabenow has had to step up and fill in for many of those duties as well. The staff report prepared by our HR director is in your packet. It notes the costs for the out-of-class pay request, $2,174 for last year for 2021, and projected $6,700 for this year through July 1. The funding is available within the budget because we have a vacant accounting manager position. We're not sure when we'll be able to fill that. We are having difficulty finding qualified candidates to fill that vacancy. We also had the elimination of a cost that we have been carrying on old records maintenance that saves us approximately $15,000. So there's more than enough funds to cover this request. So the respectful request from administrative staff is to approve the out-of-class pay for Sarah Stabenow through July 1st and retroactive back to November 1st.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Any questions by the supervisors about this? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'd be happy to do the motion, but I do have a question.
Okay.
So I can do both if you want.
All right, why don't you go with the question first?
My question is, are there any others in our county that would be subject to this kind of situation? Given COVID and, additional responsibilities and that kind of thing, could we see more of this?
We've had a couple other positions with out of class pay requests. They don't always last more than the 3 months. We have one at the DA's office that is going to be coming forward for somebody who's filling in as office manager there. So yes, we have seen this it's more due to unexpected vacancies than it is to COVID. But it's always a possibility. We rely upon the managers of the various departments and divisions to bring these to our attention. As I said, on a normal, and we can approve administratively, we can approve up to 3 months, and that often is sufficient. It's just when it extends longer than that, that we have to come to you for approval.
Would you say that positions that are needing to be filled, that our budget is kind of compensating for that? To where
Yes.
there's not
So
being paid?
far, that has been the case, at least with the out of class pay, because very often it's the case that the position that they're providing the additional duties for is vacant, so that money is not going out of salaries and benefits, therefore it's available for the out of class pay.
Okay. That answers that, and I would make that motion that we approve.
Okay,
out of class pay for for
I'll
salaries.
second.
second by Supervisor Lino. Okay, I have no motion made by Supervisor Story. Jim, did you have a question? Supervisor Tripp?
No, thank you. I was going to second the motion.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Okay, any other questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of extending the out of class pay for employee Sarah Sabinow until July 1st, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to that? Hearing none, passes. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Jim and Tim, for backing that up.
I've got a question about that position. Do we have anybody that has applied for that position, or is it completely nobody at all?
We when the position was first vacated in the beginning of September, we posted as quickly as we could, got it together, posted, went through one round of applications. We had, I think it was 3 interviews. Nobody that would be a fit, even from a ground up training perspective. So then we put a pause on it because as we got into wrapping up the budget, planning for the CFO transition, amongst all the other big things, and fiscal year end for payroll, implementing a lot of new benefits and so on, we felt we couldn't support bringing somebody on even if we could. So we reposted the position just before Christmas. A lot of times, people are taking a break and they might look for positions. So it was only about a 1-month delay after those interviews. Unfortunately, we had no applications by the January 18th posting date. And you heard in the interviews with GovHR for the CFO position, this is the toughest position for them to fill right now is finance management level positions. I'm hearing it in my state conferences as well as at national peer groups. Having said that, we did get one application that came in. After that, we've adjusted the application to be open till fill, or the posting. Beata, myself, and Heather Murray sat down and did some brainstorming, and we reviewed the job description again that was just updated with the class comp study to see if there's any tweaks. I think the bottom line is the pool is incredibly limited. The county may have to, you can only water it down so much. It is a significant management level position. The departments they support need to have a certain level of minimum expertise. So just going to have to power through. I know when we had the other accounting manager position, when Leah Symington left, that took us 6 months to fill. It is getting increasingly challenging to do this, but it doesn't mean you give up. So we're also trying to target different ways, different approaches, even looking back to prior recruitments to see some that may have interviewed for other positions within the finance department that had bachelor degrees, to see if we can approach those people again. So I mean, it's not just sitting back, throwing it out there and then throwing our hands up. We're trying to look at every possible way to get somebody in, but you have to have somebody that wants the job too. You can't throw somebody in a position like that doesn't have their heart in it.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank you for all your years of service. This is your reporting committee. And I just want to thank you for everything you've done for the county. And I think you're going to be missed. I'm sure Beata will do a great job, but you're still going to be missed as a person. So,
Oh, thank you, Chairman Bartlett. Appreciate that.
And how about everybody turn their volume on? How about a little round of applause for Mr. Stray?
Raise my glass.
Thank you. Thank you. How about a can of Sprite?
There.
Cranberry juice. There we go. Thank you, Keith. Personally, from me also, it's certainly been a pleasure having you aboard our team here and working with you. And we'll miss your smiling face and all your great comments, and best of luck in your future. I hope it holds lots of joy for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Any other questions about, there was some other out of class pay that was necessary, some work that was done to adjust some of the grid for some of the people. And I think that was done in a good and timely manner. Anybody have any questions on any of that? There's a number of employees in the highway department that were adjusted, and glad that was caught. Hearing none, audit of the vouchers. Was there anything within the vouchers that brought any questions by anyone on the committee?
Do we need a motion on that pay equity adjustment item or not?
Not that, or do we, Paul?
No, we've approved it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. All right.
We're good. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Supervisor Leonard, you mean the equity pay adjustment in the highway?
Yeah, equity pay adjustment.
No,
Yeah.
that does not require committee action.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Tim. Okay, I have one, and as long as we have Keith and Paul here. Starting on the first page of the vouchers, risk management deductible fund escrow, Wisconsin County Mutual, is that a annual payment? 117,107.
Yes, that is my understanding. That's an annual participation payment, basically, because they're administering our plan, and they're not going to use their money to deal with it.
Okay, thank you. And then long as and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Under general admin on the second page, we're down at postage, about 3/4 of the way down. Is that for the whole county? Does all the postage go through the admin department?
A large portion of the county's levy supported postage does flow through there. There are a couple of areas like a sheriff, I believe, and possibly one or two others that, because they have separate funding, they charge their own, or they pay their own. But yes, there is a general account that captures everything else.
Okay. Well, it certainly justifies the amount. I was just looking at that. I thought, wow, what are we doing with admin department? What are we? sending out, but I can see that if that's almost countywide, that would be. Anyone else have anything that they wish to ask? I had one, I think, for the sheriff's department. If I can find it. Maybe I'll buy it. Yeah, and maybe it's just a crazy name for the vendor, but Sheriff's Patrol 1270. Let's see, towards the top of the page, the top few items are Northtown Ford. And then it goes down to an operating supply from Luxury Home Buyers LLC. I don't know if you found that one. The bottom of that.
That I would not be able to tell you what the answer with that. We would have to research that. It's amazing the vendor names as they come through. It can be something completely related a subsidiary or doing business of as versus what they're actually doing. So
Yeah.
do you have the dollar amount in that? That'll help me pin this down.
It's the one that's $798.85.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Luxury home builder.
Page is jail and emergency. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I found it. I will look that up and
Okay. Yeah, like you were saying,
invoice.
Keith, it just may be a crazy, there's a lot of companies, who got into business because of COVID and added a branch of, for selling out supplies or whatever, but that's fine. But it just seems strange. I just wonder if it was something that even got, charged to the wrong department or something. But
Yep. No, I'll pull the invoice on that and we'll see what that is and I'll report back to the whole committee.
okay. And then again, this is one, and maybe I should go to Kevin with this too, but I see that we offer prisoner education under the jail. And it says that we pay literacy volunteers of Chippewa Valley for that prisoner educational literacy program. And the only reason I question it is not that we shouldn't be doing it, is that there is also a literacy program through West Cap out of Glenwood City, and we're tied, of course, with West Cap. I don't know, if there's even a possibility of getting service from them, and maybe it'd be more expensive, and I don't know that, but I found it funny to be that it was a literacy volunteers, and then we were paying them $1,500.
And what account was that? I'm sorry, the
Okay, it's under the jail, under 1270.
Yep.
The last page of the jail charges.
Okay.
The jail charges end up about 3/4 of the way down the page. Top of the page, clothing and uniforms, the first item, second is prisoner education.
Oh, there you go.
5,850.
Yeah, I will follow up on that one as well. Yeah, I don't know, depending on what the requirements are for working with prisoners. I mean, there could be some requirements. So yeah, I will follow up.
Yeah,
If the invoice
I know
doesn't-
there's a volunteer literacy program through West Cap that they serve some other counties, but I don't know. Again, it's volunteers and whether or not they can even provide them, but
Yeah, I'll pull the invoice and
Okay.
follow up with the sheriff and we'll get back to you with that as well.
okay, well, that ends my questions. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I suspect that 5,000 some odd dollars is for curriculum materials.
Okay.
Good
The
idea.
literacy volunteers would provide.
The
I
instruction.
don't think they provide, they charge for the activities of the people, but the curriculum materials could easily cost that much. But again, I don't know that for a fact. I think that's probably what it is.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else? Dave Bartlett, Chairman Bartlett.
On the next page, more of a comment, or I guess, I understand it's about the libraries. They're all over, but I guess does anybody know where this Thomas St. Angelo Public Library is? Mr. Tripp?
10 Cumberland.
Oh, okay.
We are by statute required to pay a minimum of 70% of the costs of circulation in libraries in adjacent counties. So anything in Barron, Pierce, St. Croix, any county that we have a border with. So that St. Angelo Library is in Cumberland.
All right. Well, there's one from Deer Park there too. That's quite a ways away, but I guess the question I have is, and I didn't know if I should ask it when we went through the staff reports or this, but if you go through the libraries that Andrew has on the back of his staff report, there's more that we're paying than on his list. So I guess I'm just wondering if that's supposed to be equal or if that's the way it is. Maybe that's because it was from last year. I don't know. Just trying to understand.
Chairman Bartlett, I believe that's part of the timing component. There are certain libraries that have to get paid out right away at the beginning, and there are certain libraries that then have their payments paced out. So in the upcoming vouchers, you'll most likely be seeing the remainder of the libraries so that those numbers will end up matching.
All right. So
Chairman,
probably you'll have another report that'll have like Deer Park on it or something like that.
If I can add to that, there is a statutory requirement for timing on when the libraries need to apply for the funding. And one last thing I might remind you, this funding is based on circulation numbers from the year 2020, which was reported in 2021 and paid in 2022. So what we're really doing with these checks is paying for actual circulation to residents of Dunn County from now 2 years ago.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Chairman Edlin?
Yes, go ahead.
Just
Supervisor Story.
page 45, it's in the jail also, and I just wondered on the entries that relate to health costs, were any of those health costs to be reimbursed in any form, some of them by the state? It's for
Mr. Chairman, I might be
21,000.
able to help here as well.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think we have any state prisoners in our jail now. I don't think there are any at all.
Okay.
We're not getting any transfers, and the ones that we're waiting have been moved out. So I would guess the answer to your question, Sheila, is probably no.
Is that permanent or is that just right now?
And we still have a contract with the state to house prisoners, but you want to hear my rant again? State of
It's a short meeting,
Wisconsin
of course.
just bragged about an additional surplus in taxes, but they did not provide enough funding in the budget to house prisoners outside of the prison system. We still have a contract to house state prisoners. However, they're not sending any because there's no money in the budget for it.
Ouch.
And
Thank you.
if any of that expense was from before, we're contracted that we get medical expense for all prisoners, and the state prisoners were included in that.
Thank you. Any other questions about the vouchers?
I have a question regarding from last meeting. I know there was some issue about water usage at the facilities. I know Dave had brought it up, and I'm just wondering if that had gotten resolved.
It did. Scott Nobbyfeld replied back. I don't recall the details.
Okay, I just was curious. That's
Yeah,
all.
he did verify, I guess, just in summary, he did verify that it was appropriate, and there wasn't any leaks or anything like that. It came down to, in some aspects, there are fixed charges that have to be paid irregardless. But he had a memo on
Total
that.
water, actually, not potable water. It had to do with water quality charges from the city.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Anyone else? All right. Hearing David Bartlett, Chairman.
I'll
Bartlett.
make a motion that we accept the vouchers.
Okay, second to that? Seconded by Supervisor Leno. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the vouchers, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all. Moving on. 7 on your agenda is consideration for reports, resolutions, and ordinances that we would bring forward to the from this committee. There are none for this month. Number 8 is announcements. The only announcement that I have at this point is the next meeting date of February 24th, 2022 for this committee. Any other announcements we need to make?
I don't have an announcement, but I do have a statement or in light of the Ahmad Abre case. As this had wound itself down and these these unfortunate individuals will be spending the rest of their days in jail. One of the things that was stated regarding this was citizens arrest laws. And I was just kind of wondering, is there anything on the books? Maybe this is a question for Sarah, or Nick. Are there any citizens arrest laws in the Dunn County or state of Wisconsin that maybe should be addressed in light of the impact of this national case?
There are no ordinances in Dunn County relating to citizens arrest. I know sheriffs, it's not a topic that I'm thoroughly familiar with, but I think sheriffs are authorized to pull together posses for the purpose of searching in coordination with an investigation. I don't know the status of citizen arrest as a legal concept in Wisconsin, however.
If I may recommend, we've taken note of the question, Supervisor Lee, now, and staff can do a little look into it. We may want to discuss whether or not this is appropriate, perhaps for the Judiciary and Law Committee. And
that's kind of what my thought was at this point. I didn't know where to go with it, but I just thought.
That's okay. It's enough to have asked the question. We'll take note on it and follow up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anything else? If not, this meeting of the Committee on Administration is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Stay
Bye,
warm,
everyone.
Oh, Sheila. Go ahead.
No, I just said bye, everyone, and I was going to say bye.
Oh, bye.